Hi, this is the video summary recording of the final success session for our Year 13 students and students who are graduating this spring. There's a lot of information here. There's some information about the next couple of weeks up through the graduations, but then there's also information that you will need next year, starting in the summer or fall when you continue your schooling at a university or at SC4. So a lot of good information for you. 3 years ago, if you think about it, you were just finishing up taking your Compass tests before taking your first college class. And since then, in only 3 years, you've completed 6 semesters at SC4, 18 to 20 college courses. Many of you have 62 or more credit hours. If you don't, you've probably got 50 or 55 credit hours earned. You had a high school graduation last year. Many of you walked in commencement at your partner high school. You have been exposed to or sat through just about 25 hours of success sessions and the initial orientation that was 4 half days. So you've gotten a lot of information about success in college. And coming very soon, depending on when you watch this video, your college graduation and your college degree will be earned. So as I record this, it's finals week and almost the last day. So I hope to send the link out to you guys. But on Friday, May 6th, is the SC4 commencement ceremony, the graduation ceremony. And many of our students, I know, are earning their associate degree at that time. And if you're not, then my guess is you're very close. I know you are, because most of our students are within, if they're not earning their degree now, they're within 1, 2, or just 3 classes of getting it. So it's all a big wow. You guys have done an amazing job. But there are still some things that we want to share before you leave, and that's what the last success session was all about. So here are some of the things we're going to cover. I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible without rushing it too much so you don't understand, I guess, what I'm saying. So what we talked about at the success session, we learned a little bit about majors and minors, and we heard directly from Saginaw Valley State University's Associate Director of Admissions. I will play some of the live video conference that we recorded of Anderson Bearden, and he'll talk about majors, minors, and the importance of choosing the right classes. Because when you get to a college or university beyond SC4, many of you are going to be about halfway done with your degree program, and it's time to really make good decisions so you don't miss out on the courses you need and so you can complete your bachelor's degree on time. We'll talk about buying textbooks, and it's not always about buying textbooks. Sometimes you can rent them, whether you buy new or used, and just some options for getting textbooks. That's one of the first things you're going to have to spend some pretty serious money on in the fall, and it can easily add up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I'm going to give you some options about that, because you haven't had to buy your textbooks. You just kind of picked them up each semester. And we actually heard at the session from SC4's bookstore manager, but I'm just going to sum up some of what he says in this video. We'll talk about what your status is going to be as a student now that you're graduating from the Blue Water Middle College, and then what possible next steps there are for you. We'll look at a college transcript. Some of you have ordered your college transcript to be sent to future colleges or universities, but a lot of you, my guess is, have not seen the actual official SC4 transcript, and I'm going to show you one that's basically completed. The student actually graduated, earned the Michigan Transfer Agreement, and we'll see what that looks like. So you'll know what's going to go out to schools and potential employers in the future. We'll talk just a little bit about options for paying for college, because a lot of you may have applied and been accepted, but now that part comes in terms of how am I going to pay the bills that come due in July and August for the new school. And we'll hear a little bit from some former middle college students who are now out at a university. They just shared via video some ideas that might help you next year as you move on to a different school. And then we'll talk briefly about the graduation ceremonies, SC4s, and the Blue Water Middle College Academies, what's the difference between them and what to expect. And there are 2 surveys that are required for all our students. Some of you might already have completed them based on an email I sent, but we'll talk just a little bit about that. And finally, about purchasing your iPad if you want. If you have a middle college iPad, you'll be able to purchase it for just $25. We'll tell you how to go about doing that. So with that, I'm going to break now. I'm going to add the video from Mr. Anderson Bearden and then come back to you live after he's done. We're not going to hear his entire video just to keep the time of this one down a little bit. He's got good information, but we'll play the part about the majors, minors, and then choosing correct classes. So probably about 10 minutes or so from Mr. Anderson Bearden. So stay tuned.
You really have made a fantastic choice by choosing to attend a middle college. Obviously, the idea is that you are hopefully saving yourselves time and money. And I can tell you that most of you will have done that to varying degrees. Some of you will have saved a lot of time and money as you move on to four-year institutions, and others not quite as much. And I'll kind of talk through why that is and some of those things. One of the things that you should know, Mr. Spencer asked me to sort of define what is a major and a minor. A major at a college or university just means that at least 1/3 and as much as 1/2 of the classes that you've taken are related to that particular subject matter. So as an example, if you were to become a nursing major here at SVSU, that means that roughly 62 of your credits are actually nursing credits. If you were to become an art major at SVSU, 51 of those, the credits that you need out of 124 total, would be labeled ART, art. Now, if you wanted to be an art minor or get an art minor through SVSU, that can be as little as 15 credits. And so that would be, not even... in fact, I've got one minor here on campus that's only 9 credits, which would be not even 1/10 of your degree. Majors and minors are often defined by the industry. So as an example, nursing, there are some very specific requirements that of classes that you have to take in order to sit for your state nursing boards. And that's not the case for something like art. That's why you would not find a nursing minor at SVSU, is because the state nursing board doesn't approve of a nursing minor. So each industry that you're looking at, each career that you may be looking toward, is going to have its own specific sets of requirements, whether those are just industry expectations or whether they're set down as a matter of law. So you have to know sort of where you want to go in order for us to be able to answer the question, what classes should you take and should you get a major or minor and those sorts of things. With that said, though, some of you may still be undecided, or at least not fully decided on what you ultimately want to do and what you ultimately want to be. So one of the things that I will tell you is there are a lot of tools out there. We will cover some of those things, and there are careers that are not only will pay you well, but also will have numerous job opportunities for just about any passion that you may have. So the question that I would encourage you to ask yourselves is not the one that everyone else asks you, which is, what am I going to be for the rest of my life? What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to? We all get so sick of that question. What are you going to do? What are you going to be? Ask yourself instead, what are the big questions that I want to answer? What are the things that are really important to me? Maybe it's that you want to take care of young people. And you can do that in a wide variety of different ways. You might go into nursing and do pediatric nursing, or you might go into social work and try to protect children that way, or you could go into pre-law and become a family lawyer and try to protect children that way, or even political science and try to get into politics and set policy. So there's a wide variety of different ways to sort of follow your passion and your dreams and still make money at it and find a job. So with that said, Pete, if you want to switch to the next slide. One of the things that's out there is there's a very shiny object that gets dangled in front of us by the media, and in some ways that gets perpetuated by the by teachers, by faculty members, by parents, by friends, etc. And we've all heard about the skyrocketing cost of education, about how much in student loans people have to take out, and all of those sorts of things. We've heard those nightmare scenarios of, I've got $200,000 in student loans, and now I work at Starbucks or Buffalo Wild Wings. And I can tell you that those stories, while they do exist, they're the exceptions to the rule. They're the Bill Gates, where, didn't go to college but made a lot of money type situations. So the average student across the state of Michigan leaves college with about $32,000 in student loan debt. This is the only plug I'm going to put in for SVSU today, but at SVSU we do work very hard to help our students manage the financial portion of their degree. And so for our students, last year the 50% of our students graduated with less than $17,500 in student loan debt. And I'm not encouraging you to incur student loan debt, and hopefully as a part of what you've done at the middle college, you have taken enough credits and spent enough time there that you are going to graduate with less student loan debt. But even with that, the bigger long-term financial risk for students in your situation is spending too much time in college, taking longer than you should in order to obtain a college degree. And that's another great thing about our middle colleges. Is, you're now in your 13th year, and some of you will have accumulated up to 60 credits or 62 credits towards a 4-year bachelor's degree, depending on what your major is and where you go. But for the average student out there in the state of Michigan, they're taking 6 years after high school in order to earn a bachelor's degree. That same student averages $50,000 per year in income once they graduate. That's the average starting salary. So because of that, you can see on the screen there, by wasting 1.75 years, and the number's not quite 6, it's 5.75, by wasting that time, they've also lost out on that earning potential. Instead of working for 1.75 years and earning that money, they're still in college. So they're still paying college tuition, living on campus, and all of the expense that brings, but also wasting their that earning income. And now they're 2 years later to their first promotion, 2 years later to their first pay raise as well. So Pete, if you want to switch to the next slide. So one of the reasons why this happens is because students don't truly know what they want to be once they get to either their 2-year college experience or their 4-year college experience. Hopefully a lot of you through this middle college opportunity have been able to pick out what you want to be and where you want to go. What are those big problems that you want to solve? Because that's going to allow people like me, whether at my institution or at other institutions across the state, to be able to effectively advise you on what classes you need to take. So what do I mean by that? Well, as part of my general education requirements, we have math. We don't call it math, at least not for the category. The category is called numerical understanding because people are afraid to say the words math. So if you wanted to be an engineer, or you wanted to be a computer scientist, or go into computer information systems, or some of those things, physics or optical physics, then you would take the very bottom class there, Calculus 1. That would be your general education requirement for Category 3. That one class would satisfy both Category 3 and it is part of your major. Now, if you wanted to do something other than that, let's say business or nursing or teaching or social sciences or criminal justice or pre-law, then we're going to encourage you to instead take statistics because it's much more relevant to what you want to do and where you ultimately want to go with your life. And so if you come to me now and you've done the middle college experience and you took calculus, and then you tell me, Anderson, I want to be a teacher, I'm going to say, that's fantastic. I hope you want to be a math teacher because then we can use that calculus class toward your degree. Otherwise, I'm going to need you to also take statistics, because statistics are important to teachers. They have to be able to determine, what percentage of their classes are their class are doing well, and et cetera, et cetera. Same thing for nurses. Same thing for political scientists, for criminal justice majors, et cetera. They all need statistics. And if you're going into business, you need economics. So unfortunately, even though that math class, Math 161, it looks like on paper it's a higher level math class than Math 132A or 132B, so you might assume, well, that's going to waive me out of those classes. Unfortunately, it's not the same content. And in order to be an effective nurse, you need biostatistics. So now, rather than taking one class to satisfy both requirements, the requirement for the major and the requirement for your general education, you end up taking two.
Okay, so now that message from Mr. Bearden really, his example about the different math classes, we want to stress the importance of really knowing what you want to study as soon as you get to campus in the fall if you're going to a four-year university. Do your final research this summer if you're not sure. Many of you will have orientation. You'll have a chance to meet with a student advisor, and they will give you ideas on what classes to take. But to really make your time there most efficient, you've got to avoid mistakes in terms of classes that you take that, like he said, might be a good math class, but it doesn't help you with what you want to study. So some words of wisdom there from someone who's at a university and sees sometimes the mistakes that students make that cost them a lot of time and money. Okay. Moving on now, textbooks. This is actually a screenshot of the SC4 Bookstore website. We have hundreds of Blue Water Middle College Academy students, and probably less than half of them maybe have ever set foot inside the bookstore, although maybe you have for a snack or a blue book or the score sheets for your test scantrons or something like that. But they sell a lot of things in there, and the key things, of course, are textbooks. But Mr. Scott Alexander is manager of SC4's bookstore, and he was nice enough to come in and talk to our two groups, and you can see him sitting there talking to students informally at the sessions. So I'm going to try to sum up what he said and give you some ideas to think about. So keep these in mind. Literally, these tips can save you hundreds of dollars every semester if you purchase your textbooks wisely and don't make mistakes. There are many options for getting the books you need, but the most important thing you need to consider is whatever you buy or rent or purchase as an ebook, however you get it, make sure it's the correct edition. And Mr. Alexander stressed this. Know the ISBN, and that's a special number, very specific to every book. Every edition that's published in the country has an ISBN, the N standing for number. There you'll see either a 10 or a 13-digit number. If you look in any textbook that you have, you open it up a couple of pages in, it'll say ISBN, and it'll have a long number there. But if the number matches, then you can guarantee that it's the right edition and book that the instructor is asking for. College textbooks often keep the same title, but the edition changes. I'm going to show you an example in a little bit about looking for a book online via Amazon, and it's actually the 10th edition of this book. It happens to be a sociology book. So make sure you're getting the right edition, because just by being one edition off, it might be a lot cheaper, but it might not be what your instructor wants, and it might prevent you from doing well in the class. Okay, so what are your options? You can actually buy textbooks new, you can get used textbooks, or you can rent textbooks, which can be either new if they come to you, or they could be used. The company renting them obviously wants to rent them more than once. As a middle college student, you've probably received both new and used books, depending on what class you took and when. Some books are only going to be available as new. If an instructor is using a brand new book for his or her class, then and it's a brand new edition, then the bookstores won't have any used copies to sell if it's a brand new book. Some of the benefits of new books is that they are clean and free of highlighting and any margin notes. If you've had a book that's had highlighting already in it, and I remember those from back in the day when I took classes, sometimes they were okay, and you almost felt like the person who had highlighted was on the same track as you in terms of what they thought was important, but other times they didn't always highlight what you would have wanted to highlight, and that can be distracting. And also, the margin notes can be distracting. If people are doodling, obviously that can be distracting, but also if they're writing things down that maybe you didn't think was important, that can make it a little tougher to study. So used books can be a whole lot cheaper, but because they sometimes come with highlighting and notes, that can be distracting when studying. So you kind of have to balance the two. But if a new book is $350 and a used book is $125, often you can overlook a lot of that extra highlighting and notes. Renting books can be a great option, and it's often very inexpensive. You only have the book for one semester. You'll have time to complete the semester, and then you'll have to send it back. But keep in mind when you rent books, the books may get sent to you or provided to you in used condition, so you have to keep that in mind. And you do have to return it on time or risk extra costs if you get it back to the company late. Bookstores, the regular brick and mortar bookstores, do rent books. Many of them do. I know SC4's bookstore rents books, so you can actually check out, look at the book before you take it away. And it's easier to return there. But also online websites will rent books as well, and it really can be quite a savings. If it's a class that you won't be needing that book in the future, but you need it to get through the class, renting is really a good option. So where do you go to get textbooks? Next year, many of you are off to Grand Rapids or Mount Pleasant or Kalamazoo or East Lansing to a university campus. Well, there will be a college bookstore, and probably several, depending on the size of the university or the college. Often colleges have one linked specifically to the college or university, just like SC4 has one here. And then there'll be other private bookstores, some of them parts of big chains, others just small, what they call mom and pop stores. But there'll probably be several options. So you're just going to have to kind of find out what works for you in terms of prices, convenience, service, things like that. So, and that's really, you probably on average would pay more from a regular bookstore on campus or near campus. But what you're paying for is the extra service, the help that you'll receive from the customer, or from the folks that work there, rather, you're the customer, and just the convenience of being able to walk there, pick up the book, and have it and start studying. You don't have to wait for it to be delivered or put the order in, things like that. So if you do go to a bookstore, Mr. Alexander stressed to bring in your schedule. Don't just say I'm taking Political Science 101, because as you may have realized, well, maybe you didn't even, at SC4, there could be several different instructors teaching the same class, and a lot of them have different books they like to use. So you have to be very specific in terms of who you're taking the class with, what section, and so on. And then the folks will help you find the books that you need. A lot of times you can search the stacks yourself and pick up the books you need. They'll have them pretty clearly marked, but you just want to really make sure you're getting the right things. So going to a local bookstore is probably more expensive, but as I mentioned, good service can be worth it, and it could save you money in the long run. Bookstores will sell both new and used books if the used books are available, and they may rent them too. Some instructors require what they call course packs, and these are often a series of articles that are just photocopied, so it's not an actual book. In that case, the course packs would probably only be available at local stores. And when you sign up for a class, or as the semester gets closer to starting, you'll be able to log in nowadays, and the instructor will either email you, or on their site or whatever, you'll see that it will say you must buy this course pack. And sometimes it's only one store. You must go to Joe's bookstore and pick it up. And so there you pretty much have to get it where they tell you, and at whatever price they set on that. So where else to buy? Online, of course, is a big option, and it can often be a savings to you. You can buy brand new books, used books, you can rent books, you can even order ebooks if the textbook is available in an ebook version, and that's cheaper than the paper version, maybe not quite as cheap as renting it. When you buy online, you have a little bit of risk because it's up to you to order the correct edition. There's a little time lag. Now Amazon will deliver within a couple of days, and as a college student, a lot of times they will offer at least a year of Amazon Prime, which gets things to you in just 2 days at no extra cost. But it's up to you to make sure you're getting the correct edition. I'll show you in a little bit why or how risky that can be. If you're not careful, you could get the wrong edition. The used books, if you order them, could be very used, although usually they'll indicate, what shape you can expect the book to be in. They might say minor highlighting or something like that. Buying online can save lots of money over traditional college bookstores. So it really is a potential good option. One of the former middle college students who this year is taking college courses at SC4 and then also university, she's kind of combining. I want to say she stopped in and said she purchased books from like 3 or 4 different sources. So sometimes you can't get everything online, but so she kind of mixed and matched and ended up saving herself a lot of money. What I'm going to do now, just to show you how you could order or search on Amazon, is we'll look for this one textbook, which is a book that we've given to middle college students. You may have used this book, but if you've been here a while, I think it was a different book back when you started. So what I'm going to do is exit out of this, and we're going to look up Sociology in Our Times by Diana Kendall and just look at options for a bit. Okay, so I've already gotten to Amazon, and I'm going to type in the title, Sociology in Our Times, press enter. And I know that from the books that we have on the shelf, the one that was required was this 10th edition. The cover looks the same, so I am going to click on that. Now remember what I said about the ISBN number, making sure that it's the same. So when I scroll down over here to the left, you'll see the ISBN number. It has the 13-digit number and also the 10-digit. Now, Mr. Alexander, who textbooks are his business, said that you can use either number. So it doesn't. If you have the 13-digit, match it up with this. You'll see that the 10-digit is not exactly the same, but those both equate to this same book, Sociology in Our Times, 10th edition. So let's look at the options. Up at the top here, you've got some tabs. There is an e-textbook available in this, and it says the price ranges from $36.98 to $75 basically. So quite a swing there, but you can click on this and then see what the different options are for the e-book. In this case, it's an e-textbook. It's actually a rental. So you get it, and then you can use it, and then it will disappear or not be unusable on your iPad or Android device, whatever you have. But for that, when you look at what the hardcover cost could be, and we'll go there in a second, this says $31.50 all the way up to $237 basically. So if it's a class that you're not going to be, need that book for future professional work, you might just want to put it on your iPad and read it that way. And there's a lot of neat tools that go with an ebook that you can use. So the electronic copy up to $75. Now let's click on the hardcover. All right, so I've clicked on that. You can rent, you can buy used. In this case, the new books. Look over to the right, the price $237. So if you want a brand new, shiny, hardcover book, it's going to be almost $240 to purchase. So very expensive if you get it that way. Now, if we look at the paperback, it says, okay, I don't need a hardcover. I can get a paperback, maybe get it new for $170, which is cheaper. So in this case, I click on this, and I don't know if you noticed it, but something changed in the cover right here. It's not the same cover, the paperback edition. And this is where it gets real tricky, because that should be your first clue that maybe it's not the right book. Over to the left, the ISBN numbers are not the same as the book on the other one we were looking at that matches the one that we've been giving out to you guys. So is this the same? Could it be usable? Is it the 10th edition? It says it is, but I would be very leery to see if the text is the same, and I would do some more research, because right now it looks like it's a different book which might have slightly different page numbers and assignments and questions and things like that. So you got to be careful. There's a loose leaf option. You might say, well, that's fine, I'll put it in a 3-ring binder for $60, and that could be a great option, but again, we're looking at that different cover, different ISBN number. You'd want to make sure that it's the same edition. And it does say 10th edition, so maybe it is just the cover, but you want to do some research so you don't buy this and then realize you have to get the other one because it's wrong. So there's a lot of different options. There's other sellers that you can get them from. And in this case, it does talk when you get a used copy. Again, it's that different cover, but it will say, used, and here's the condition, very good. It'll tell you when it arrives, when you need it delivered. and so on. So there's all different kinds of options for purchasing these books. Here's one. It says little or no highlighting, cover and spine show little or no wear, and so on. Okay, so a lot of different options. What I'm going to do now is go back to the presentation and finish up the part on textbooks and keep moving on here. So we've talked about this. So there are some websites, probably a whole bunch of them, but I found a couple that you can go to find out more about options for purchasing textbooks, and some top sites here. So there is an article that's posted called How to Save Money on College Textbooks. If you Google this, the author is Trent Ham, and it's on the lifehacker.com site. This is a link. If you want to follow that, you could pause the video and type that in. I'm hoping to create a web page on the Student Success Central site where I can put this information so you can refer back to it maybe in the summer. But right now it's right here. And one other article, it says 5 best sites to buy cheap textbooks, and that's by Mr. Alan Henry, also on the lifehacker.com site. And there's the address there if you want to go directly to that article. Okay, so a lot of information about textbooks, purchasing it. One thing we have to do, if you haven't already returned them by the time that you view this, is we need the middle college textbooks back. The final due date is Friday, May 13th. Get all your books and materials in by that time. You will not get your high school diploma until all materials have been returned. That's the case at any high school. That's the case at the middle college as well. So get them in. Please don't tell me it's too far away, I can't make it in. This is finals week. As I record this, you'll have a whole nother week to get to SC4's campus and bring your books back. Okay? I'm going to pause right here and come right back. Okay, so with 2 graduations coming up for many of you, your SC4 graduation and your Blue Water Middle College Academy graduation, and officially getting your diploma. What will your status be? And it's kind of important to know this when it comes to your status at future colleges and for jobs and so on. So you will officially become a high school graduate soon. Obviously, you haven't taken high school courses in a year, but officially you'll have your high school diploma and be a high school graduate if all the requirements are done by the end of this month. Many of you will be a college graduate. The ceremony is Friday, May 6th. Officially, your college diploma won't come until later this summer. SC4 needs to make sure that you passed all the classes that you need to. So Friday is a ceremony at the college, but you'll get your diploma if you've earned all the requirements or met all the requirements later this summer. Many of you will also be a college freshman, which is interesting for application purposes. You have applied, many of you, to universities or SC4, and you do that as a freshman because you still haven't graduated from high school yet. So for application purposes, you were a college freshman, but as soon as you get there, or as you meet with an advisor, often during the summer at your orientation, your academic standing in the fall may jump to sophomore or even junior level at a 4-year university, which is important. There's benefits to that. One of the drawbacks is when you get to the junior and senior level at a university, usually the tuition goes up just a little bit for each credit hour. It's not a big jump, but it is a jump. But it's better if you go in as a sophomore or a junior. That means that a lot of your credits, if not all of them, have transferred successfully. So I would actually be happy if you came in as a junior. But one of the things to keep in mind is at that point, then you have to or should declare a major and potentially a minor, as Mr. Bearden was talking about, because you really have to get into your core academic requirements. And like he said, between 1/3 and 1/2 of your requirements, that's what makes something a major, majoring in whatever it is, biology or something. You're going to have to take a lot of biology classes. So you're going to have to start those right away. There's not a lot of room for the extra general ed classes. So your status, you'll be a high school graduate. Many of you will be a college graduate at the community college level. And then many of you also are enrolling at a university where you will be likely a sophomore or junior status once you get on campus. So what's next? For many of you, your plans are all set and you're ready to go and you've had maybe orientations. Others, maybe not so much. But a lot of students are heading on to a four-year university to earn a bachelor's degree, often known as a four-year degree. As Mr. Bearden said, a lot of students take almost 6 years to earn a bachelor's degree. My guess is the path should be much shorter for you. If everything really goes well and you really plan well and work well, hard, and so on, you could have your bachelor's degree just 3 years out of high school. So that's pretty cool. If you did not get your SC4 diploma, either because you failed or withdrew from a class or two, or maybe took a developmental course that put you a little behind, remember you can do what's called reverse transfer. In other words, when you get to a university, you can transfer 3 or 6 or 8 credits back to SC4 without ever setting foot on the campus. You just send your new college transcript back after you get those classes completed and request to graduate from SC4, and you can become an SC4 graduate and earn your associate degree, which is cool. So don't forget about that. Contact SC4 if you have questions. I've had students actually contact me that have been out and about, and then they say, Mr. Spencer, what was that you were talking about? The reverse transfer or getting your degree when you're not there anymore, and I'd be glad to help you with that. A lot of students are staying at SC4 to complete an associate degree, maybe earn a second associate degree, which doesn't usually require that many more classes, or in some cases a specific certification where you don't have to take a full 2 years, but you can get certified in whether it's some kind of computer programming or some kind of manufacturing process, welding, something like that, that can help you get a job that requires a certain state or federal certification. So that can be done at SC4 for a fairly low cost. Some students I know might be taking a little time off and are going to work for a bit, earn some money, and just kind of take the time away from books. But one thing I would just encourage all of you to do as soon as possible, if you aren't already getting your degree, is get it done. Most of you are going to be, if you don't already have your degree, are going to be within 1 or 2, even if it's 3, 4, or 5 classes of getting a degree. It's not that much. You can do it in one more term at SC4 and get it done. And once that's done, it'll always be there for you. When you apply to a job, you're always going to have an associate degree to build on. So get that degree. Some options if you want to stay close to home and you're not planning to head off somewhere at this time. Again, stay at SC4, complete one program, or possibly add another. Baker College offers 4-year bachelor's degrees as well as 2-year programs. They have a nice culinary institute, which is beautiful, just opened. And so check out Baker College. And they also have some special scholarships that can help reduce the cost of that. They've had in the past even scholarships geared for Blue Water Middle College students. So you might want to contact Baker and see what they offer. The University Center Partners, which are actually 4-year universities that have a presence, if you will, at SC4, include Ferris State, U of M Flint, and Walsh College. Ferris State has a criminal justice program where you can get a bachelor's degree using mostly SC4 classes, which is good, saves you money. U of M Flint, you can get a psychology bachelor's degree. In Walsh College, you can get a business management degree and I think an accounting degree at SC4. I know Walsh is great about transferring 2 years worth of credits in out of the 4-year degree. So check out those University Center Partners. Their representatives are located in the MTech building at SC4 on the second floor up near the college advisors. There are online universities. Again, this is for students who want to stay close to homes. Maybe money is an issue where you can't go out and get your own apartment or whatever. You just have a good job and you want to try to get more education while still working and living near home. So there are online universities. Just be careful. Some of them are not as reputable as others, and you don't want to throw away your money or take loans out for something that's not going to pay off in the end. One slide on paying for college. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but I think the key thing for anyone to do if you have questions is ask the experts. There are experts right here on SC4's campus. The financial aid folks at SC4 would be glad to help you with ideas for getting funding, even if you're going away to Northern Michigan University or Indiana Wesleyan, wherever you're going. They'll be able to get you started on options. And then the other thing, of course, is to ask the college where you're going. So at this time of year, many of you have gotten your financial aid award letters. If you applied to a university and are planning on going there and completed the FAFSA, they'll send you an award letter. And I know I've had a couple of students that have come in and just kind of needed help interpreting what does this mean. So ask the folks who know. Any of us can help a little bit in the middle college, but we're not financial aid experts, so we can be a starting point. Federal grants are available for students with financial needs. So if your family does not have a lot of extra money, and you complete the FAFSA, the FAFSA is that application that will ask questions about your family finances. You need to do that if you're going to qualify for federal grants, and that can be almost $6,000 a year that you do not have to pay back. So the Pell Grant, you might have heard that term, are excellent, and if your family does not have a lot of extra money to support you going to college, that's not unusual, and so check that out. There are scholarships that are often based on academic achievement, but not always. Scholarships you don't have to pay back as well, so those are other good things. Some of you, based on your GPA and based on your ACT scores, qualify automatically for those. And then to make up the difference, of course, there's also working and so on, but there are student loans and parent loans, actually, which require payback. But as Anderson Bearden said at Saginaw Valley, the average amount of loans that their students have when they graduate is just a little over $17,000. That sounds like a lot, but when you pay it back over 5 or 8 or 10 years, it's not that much. And when you get a bachelor's degree, there's a very good chance that you're going to get a job that's going to allow you to pay back a loan. So that's an option to help pay the difference. And the colleges make it very easy for you to get a loan, to get these monies, which is nice and convenient. You do have to be careful, though, that you don't run up too much debt. And boy, if you're going to be taking loans, make sure that you work hard in school, pass your classes, because otherwise you're wasting that money, and you have to pay that money back no matter what. So don't withdraw, work hard, get help, pass the classes. You can get a job while at school, and that is not going to pay for all your tuition and housing and all that, but it does give you enough to cover your incidental costs and clothing and transportation and things like that. And all of these, or almost all of them, require completion of the FAFSA, and help is available for this. Again, go into SC4's financial aid office or contact your new school's financial aid office. All right, a little bit on transcripts now. We're going to look at one student's transcript who happens to be SC4's registrar. Mrs. Burse offered hers. Of course, we've blacked out some of her personal information, but she allowed us to look at her transcript, which is an SC4 transcript. She got a degree here several years ago. We'll look at what it contains and then how to order your college and high school transcripts, because you'll need to do this in the future. So here's her page 1 of her transcript. This is very typical as what it looks like. You'll notice there's a seal in the middle. It's printed on special paper, and so that's what lets employers and colleges know that it is an official transcript. So what we'll do is zoom in on a few areas to show you. So first of all, along the top, you'll see that word official transcript on there. Official transcripts must come directly from the college, or in case of the middle college, from us, either by mail. Digital delivery is becoming more the norm now, or in a sealed envelope, where literally it's signed, it's sealed, and then the signature is across the back of the envelope, so the student cannot tamper with it and change grades. So this is an example of an official transcript. Any new school you attend will want an official copy of your transcript if they're going to transfer credit. You can't just bring them a list you printed from your wave. They're going to eventually need an official transcript. And employers will want that. Most jobs that you apply to, a lot of them anyway, will want to see your college transcripts, especially if the position requires you to have a 2-year or a 4-year degree. They're going to want proof that you earned the degree. So I've zoomed in now on just a section of it that includes the courses, the course codes, the name of the course, number of credits, the course grade, and the grade point calculation. So first of all, you'll see the course code. Now sometimes like Math 113 doesn't tell a school or an employer anything really, because it varies. The codes vary with each college. But then you've got the course names, so that lets them know, okay, this student passed pre-calculus, the number of credit hours for that class, and then finally the grades that a student earned in that class. You'll also see the grade point averages, first of all by term, so you can see how you did that term. Some students have a really good term, other times a less good term, if that's the proper English, and it's not. But anyway, and then you'll see your cumulative grade point, which keeps building as you go semester after semester. So all that information is there. I've now zeroed in on a small section of that front page, and what you'll see is where it says MTA satisfied. This is how SC4 tells other colleges that the student has met all the requirements for the Michigan Transfer Agreement. And that helps the new schools decide what general ed courses you don't have to take. So hopefully you'll get that MTA satisfied on your transcript. They'll need to see that to make sure you don't do the general ed requirements at your new school. Okay. This is actually the second page of Mrs. Burr's transcript. A lot of times their transcripts will go 2-3 pages, sometimes even 4 if you've been there a lot of semesters. What you'll see in the upper left, I don't have it circled, but it'll say degree received. So she earned an Associate in Arts and was actually an Honors Associate of Arts. So she was in the Honors program. The major and minor, they don't really have as much at a community college, but it does indicate she was majoring in the arts degree with the transfer goal, if you will. But notice the honors. So she graduated magna cum laude, which refers to her grade point average, which ended up as a 3.865. So that's a designation when you graduate that's a very high grade point average. She was also a member of Phi Theta Kappa. So you will see those. If you have any extra honors, they'll be on your transcript. And that's a good thing because, again, it goes to all your future colleges and many employers down the road. Okay. The students must apply for graduation for the degree to be placed on their transcript, what they call that, the degree to be conferred to the student. So make sure that you do that, even if you finish a semester from now or 2 years from now. If you think you've finished all your classes, apply for graduation. It's very easy to do. That forces the college or signals the college to look at your records, make sure that you've passed all the requirements, and then go ahead and issue the degree, and it will show up on your transcript. Okay. To order your transcript, it actually opened already. You will do that digitally from the website. What the nice thing about that is, number one, there's a little cost to it, $5 per college, but you'll probably only be sending it to 1 or 2. But it should be delivered in about 15 minutes. So once you identify the college where you want it to go and I guess do the payment for it, probably using a credit card, the transcript gets sent to Eastern Michigan University or U of M, for example, and they get to download it right away. And you can even get email and text updates of the status of the order. It used to be you'd order it and then it would get printed and mailed, and it could be a week or more before the new college got it. You can get free copies of your SC4 transcript, just like the one that I showed you for Mrs. Burse, from the One Stop Registration Office. So they will print you a copy. It will not be an official copy if it's one that's not signed and sealed. Okay, but that's okay. A lot of times you don't need an official copy to give to someone. But anyway, so you can get those still for free. Make sure that you know which transcript your new college is asking for. Is it your college transcript or the Blue Water Middle College Academy, which is your high school transcript? We often get students saying, Mr. Spencer, the college still needs my transcript, when we've sent their middle college transcript a few weeks before that. And usually what the college needs is the SC4 transcript so they can verify for credit transfer. So make sure if you're getting a message from the college which transcript you need. If it's the middle college, if it's your high school one, contact us. If it's your college transcript, you have to go through SC4. We cannot print your SC4 transcripts. To order our transcript, which is your high school transcript, you need it usually to apply to your first college after SC4. You probably won't need it after that. So if you attend Western Michigan University, they probably wouldn't need your high school graduation if you went to graduate school, at Michigan State or something like that. But we're always there. You can order the transcript through parchment.com. Some of you are familiar with that. Or if you forget how to do that, just contact one of us and we'll see that your transcript gets to the university where you want it to go. Okay? This next segment I'm actually going to skip just to save time, was a video of some students that shared their experiences in their first year or 2 at a university. I might post the video if I can to the website and you can view it there, but I'm just going to save several minutes and go past this. Okay? So basically, a little bit on the graduations. By the time you view this, the SC4 commencement may be over, but that's Friday, May 6th. You must have applied for graduation to participate in the ceremony. If you didn't apply, but you're going to finish up this summer, still apply for graduation, and then you'll get your diploma. You just won't have your cap and gown and be able to march in the Friday ceremony. This spring ceremony is for those who complete their requirements this semester, that's winter of 2016, or who completed it last fall of 2015. Or again, if you complete it this summer by taking 1 or 2 classes, then you could participate in the spring commencement 2016. If you complete next fall or next winter, then your ceremony will be in May of 2017. And I encourage you, even though you may finish up the classes in the fall and not take any more in the winter, participate in the ceremony. It's very cool. The cap and gown are provided for free, and it's just a neat thing. Your family can go. There's no limit. Some notes about the survey. I think I have a slide out of order here, but there's a graduation and next steps survey. That's all one. It doesn't take all that long to do. This is our survey. It's from the Middle College. It is required for graduation to get your diploma. Some of the things you'll be asked is, and you can say yes or no to this, but if you're interested in speaking at graduation, our graduation, you can choose yes, maybe, or no. But please let me know. I'll be reaching out to those students who express an interest early next week, if not late this week, and tell you the next steps to being chosen as that person. You can also provide the name of a faculty member who you feel would be a good speaker at our ceremony, which is coming up on May 25th. We'll see who gets mentioned a lot and why, and then we'll reach out to that faculty member and see if they want to, talk at our ceremony. And we've had a couple that have done a great job over the past years. We'll ask a little bit about your future plans, if you've applied to schools, if you've been accepted, whether it's SC4 or just what your plans are. Maybe you're wanting to go to work or join the military or something like that. And we ask a question about the role that the Middle College played in preparing you for success in college. And we want to hear everything, the good things, or if there's areas that you don't think we did a good job preparing you for, let us know that as well. And then finally, an email address that will work in the future. In other words, in SC4, your account will probably be closed within about a year after leaving the school, and you may stop checking it. So if you've got a good personal email, Gmail, Hotmail, something like that, please include that. Or even your next school, like a Michigan State address, you'll probably be there for several years. Okay? Our commencement is Wednesday, May 25th. We want all our students to attend, the traditional high school students and homeschool students. 13th year students, of course, and 12th grade students who are graduating early. So all of you attend. There is no cap or gown. We ask that you dress nicely. I'll be sending more information about that shortly. I would like you to send a photo of you. It can be a casual photo. It can be one of your graduation photos. If you're a year 13 student or even a 12th grader, you have probably graduation photos. You can just take a picture or scan that. Send that to me, and I just include them in just kind of a rolling presentation. We don't associate names with them, but it's just kind of neat to see all you guys kind of flash up on the screen. Can be formal or can be very casual, doing a sport that you like or something like that. Please email a digital copy to me. So as I mentioned, that graduation next step survey is required. I have sent the links out. Most students have already done it, but we'll reach out to those who haven't shortly. But please get that done over this next weekend if you can, by May 9th or 10th. It helps, okay? And then finally, there's a MEMCA, Michigan Early and Middle College Association survey that is also required of all graduates of middle colleges in the state of Michigan. This one takes a little more time, but it's really pretty easy, as you'll see from some of these screenshots. This is the introduction page. It provides great information not only to the middle college, but also to the statewide effort to start and support early and middle colleges. So your responses help actually the state of Michigan continue to support these middle college programs. The deadline for completing the survey is in 3 weeks. It's actually less. We'd like you to have it done by May 13th. So if you haven't, please find time in the next day or two, just get it done. And send me an email when you've completed the survey. I have sent links out and I'll send links again, but please email me when you've completed the survey. More students have completed it than have emailed me. So I can tell that, I just don't know who did. So make sure you email me when you complete it. This is just a screenshot. You can see everything almost as a drop down or just a click a button to submit it. There are some other choices that you're welcome to write in, but usually it's just clicking. There are 2 questions near the end that involve a written response, and I would please ask you to take time for thoughtful input. 2 or 3 words often doesn't help. It's not worth it. So just, if you can answer it 2-3 sentences or a short paragraph, please do that. Take the time. And if you need more than that, by all means, add as much as you can. That's helpful. And then don't forget, email me right after submitting. So here's just an example as we're getting into it. These are 3 screens right in a row. And so you can see it's just clicking buttons on how often, in this case, how often you did the following at your high school and so on. Okay? All right. So that is it. The end of the video. Congratulations on finishing all of this. I hope the information has been helpful. I know the video is kind of lengthy, but that's why we say just come to the session, and then you get all this in person and sometimes from other places and people. So, all right, that's it. And there will be a brief assignment. 1 or 2 questions we'll want you to send back to Ms. Weimer, but those directions will be in the email that I send to you. Okay? Thanks.